All right, expect payout for every beneficiary each. I want you to pay attention to details and let us know in the comment section what you think. Pay attention.
While in expectation for that, I want us to have a deep, concise, experiential lookup into the amount that is expected to be given to all beneficiaries, and take some holistic look into this. How much was quoted, how much was said, and so we might know what exactly we are in expectation of, because we stand at the threshold and the borders of this expected disbursement, and everyone is expected to know what to hang their faith upon. Now, I'm going to be taking a little bit of deep insight into some of the telemetries that have happened over time within the grant ecosystem, within the UAAG borders, so that we can be able to tie it to one or two and draw our inferences. Now, the latest of this, that was in August 2025, the message that came in from the Sanctuary Wealth public scraping shows a new release on disbursement that was on August 19th, telling the partners or everyone that the season of waiting is winding up, and for us to expect to hear from the set man very, very shortly. Now, he does not include any amount that is to be paid per beneficiaries, any NGO or cluster figures, or any date or time window, just the assurance and a sign off from Simeon Idachaba for Apostle Ken Nwakama. Then in June to July 2025, we also have multiple posts from other channels, that are warning against fake updates, voice notes, demands for fees of 300,000, 500,000. The messages emphasize that information should come only from the official UAAG or Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation, directly from the county director. Notably, none of these posts state an official per beneficiaries amount. Now, what the wider media ecosystem also shows, the national press mentions that UAAG but not amount. In July 18, 2024, there was a report in This Day newspaper that captures a public appeal urging government to facilitate the UAAG disbursement, and quote the quant director Apostle Dr. Ken Nwakama for calling for patience. He quoted him calling for patience. The article also did not list amount or a payout schedule for beneficiaries. Now, the numbers that circulate currently and why they are not so reliable. Now, across Facebook or some Naira lands, and then some YouTube, and you would also find repeated claims such as 5 million Naira per individual subscriber. Then you will find post 100 million for cluster heads or for NGOs, then 50 million for cluster heads, and then 75 million Nigerians would be credited. Now, you can see that these figures discussed, not officially confirmed. In community posts and forums, we find all of these Facebook groups, discussions, they mention similar ranges also. But again, these are just user posts. They are not signed circulars from the Sanctuary Wealth or the UAAG organ. So we should treat them as unverified rumors and not policy. Now, but I want us to look at a quick plausibility check, why an official amount would matter. And we'll take a stress test. The most common rumor we have within this ecosystem. Now, if 75 million people, for instance, get 500 or get 5 million each, if you multiply that should amount to around 375 trillion. Now, for context, Nigeria's entire approved 2024 federal budget is about 28.78 trillion naira. 28.78 trillion naira. And after rebasing, Nigeria's nominal 2024 GDP was put around 372 to 373 trillion naira in reputable reporting. And that means one rumored UAAG payout would equal 13 times the federal budget and roughly the size of the whole economy for 2024. Plainly implausible. That's just casting back. I'm not talking of 2025 now, but just recasting back a branch to the past year. So one rumored payout for a UAG personnel will be equal 13 times the federal budget, and it's almost the size of an economy for 2024. The whole size. That is quite implausible, plainly implausible. Now, this scale clash doesn't prove disbursement would not happen at any level. Of course, that's not true. It's going to happen, but it simply shows that the viral amounts that are being circulated are so much inconsistent with macro realities unless there were transparent, verifiable funding sources that is unprecedented in size, which haven't been published yet. Yes, we know that this is coming from international donors, and it's a UAS fund that has cashed up over years, but we haven't gotten an official announcement of an amount that is ear tagged to our individual beneficiaries. You understand? It's not a government fund, but it's a donor fund, and they are inbound. So we just need to position our minds that if it is not up to that amount, then nobody should blame anybody. You understand? So how genuine disbursement would likely also be executed, a kind of the mechanics of how the disbursement would happen. Now, I'm not saying that it's not impossible for a beneficiary to receive 5 million. Of course, it's quite possible, and possible could even be more. You understand? But why I'm trying to position your mind is so that in case you don't get up to that amount, you know that whatever amount circulating right now is not official. They are just rumored posts by individual Facebook, social medias, and the rest of them like that. They are just hearsays that somebody say. The officials of the sanctuary world did not and has never published any amount in figure that is earmarked for beneficiaries. I only heard then when Theobald was speaking to the news, then when we were thinking that the mandate was with him, and he said that each beneficiary will get up to 1 or 2 million. It was a news that he was attending to. Then I heard him say that, you understand. But in UAAG, the officials have never said anything concerning the expected figure. So, but in mechanics, how genuine disbursement would likely be executed? A lot of people have been asking these questions, and that's why I'm deeming it fit to profile some in understanding on what is expected. So on the mechanics, Nigerian Central Bank has long mandated that inbound monies transfers, any money that is inbound, that is a transfer, should be disbursed through bank accounts. In other words, with know your customer control. So any narrative in which huge grants arrive as vague alerts without the named banks, without the named banks, or know your customer and auditable flows, there should be a red flag that should be raised in that concern. So this is general banking rule. Is not an endorsement or confirmation of any UAAG transfer. Now, where the last expected amount question stands precisely, there is no official per beneficiary amount that was stated in the last Sanctuary World Multipurpose Foundation communication available in public telemetry feeds for between June and August of, if we within that time up till now of the sanctuary wealth. The August 19 prediction news release expresses imminence, but there was no amount that was still quoted by Simeon Idachaba. There was no also signed circulars. There was no there was no signatures. There was no exact figures that have been posted on their handle, as the case may be. They did so warn against fake fee demands and fake updates, and still they gave no figure. So amounts like 5 million, 50 million, 100 million, they still remain an hearsay from social media channels and forums, and this cannot be attributed to an official Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation release. Now, a concise reconstruction also of the timeline of expectations. Currently, the news release on disbursement in current trend promises that an address would come from the county director very, very shortly, but there was no deadline that was attached to this. So we can talk about the practical implications for beneficiaries and the NGOs. In other words, don't rely on viral figures until you see a signed circular or a memorandum of understanding stating the amount per category, individual, NGO, or cluster heads. Now, treat all numbers as unconfirmed, including the pioneers, the humongous figures, including theirs. Don't take them as official. It's still on a rumored hearsay. You understand? So the supposed last schedule amount doesn't exist in any official posting that we can verify. The 5 million is still not official, so but you got to stick to official channels. That's where a real figure would appear when it is approved. We would definitely bring it up here. So be wary of fee demands. Expect bank routed payments with KYC. Any genuine mass payout in Nigeria is going to route through banks and is going to be auditable. So no paper trail alerts that are not how regulated transfers works currently. And the bottom line right now is that if an official circular or MOU specifying exact amount appears, we will definitely will air that, and that would be the moment that we can speak in Naira and Kobo. As of today, the 25th of August, Monday, 2025, the accurate state of play is that there is no official amount disclosed in the latest Sanctuary Wealth Multipurpose Foundation communications that we can publicly verify. So these are quite important at a time like this. We have repeated assurances coming from Sanctuary Wealth, but there is no repeated quoted amount. So don't forget, having said that, and I think I also need to drop this just before I end these conversations on the technical and administrative preparations that we're in. Currently, several back-end processes were highlighted before the scheduled payout, which currently we're on. I remember the data revalidation, the IMF, the ICT, the cross-check, the beneficiaries' records, which was actually done according to precision. Then the CBN compliance check also ran through, which ensures that the fund could be released without legal or regulatory hitches whatsoever. Then we had the partner NGOs alignment warning. In other words, the beneficiaries were simply urged to stay close to their state coordinators for a smooth fund reception. And finally, the meeting, the finalization of the meeting that was had recurring mentions the technical experts finalizing the process, which suggests that they were integrating the systems between the IMF, the ICT, the CBN, and the foundation's treasury arm. Don't forget, some of them, a lot of people are still asking the same questions that some people are saying that the organization has no deal with the IMF, which Sanctuary Word actually came out and debunked of a kind of any close ally with IMF, which you should know that it's just a cover-up. I released a comprehensive note on this. It's just a cover-up. This fund, this donor fund, is a US fund and is international. And there is no way that an organization will be dealing with a foreign donor fund and an IMF will not be involved. So it's just a cover ploy story to confuse the gullibles. But definitely you should know that there is IMF involvement in all of this, because it has to do with international fund, and it's from a UAS, United African State fund. So take that or leave it. That is exactly the focal point right now. So in other words, if you have anything to worry about, just worry about the fact that if you have not done what you're supposed to do, then you should worry. But if you have done what you're supposed to do, there is no need to worry about anything. Just keep your calm, keep your spirit lifted. Everything is going to end in praise, and we're just right about the time that delivery is to happen to us. So put your mind together, put your spirit in the same threshold. Everything is in order. We're just about to dance, and we will dance well.